Welcome to the Village Well podcast, brought to you by Village Well Books and Coffee in downtown Culver City.
Hello, everyone. I am Colin Hinckley. I am a bookseller and front of house manager here at Village Well Books and Coffee. I am also the author of The Black Lord, available at Village Well. Today, I will be talking to Sarah Langan, a powerhouse in the world of literary horror. Her novels like Good Neighbors and A Better World are sharp, socially conscious, and deeply unsettling. She has a knack for holding a mirror up to society and showing us the cracks we'd rather ignore, but with a story so gripping you can't look away. Earlier this year, she published Pam Kowolski is a Monster with Raw Dog Screaming Press, and next year she'll publish Tradwife with Macmillan? Is it with Macmillan?
With Atria, Simon & Schuster US, and then Tor UK.
Excellent. She also has an MFA in creative writing from Columbia and a master's in environmental health science and toxicology from NYU. That's right?
Yeah, that's right.
She has received 3 Bram Stoker Awards and is a founding member of the Shirley Jackson Awards. Sarah, welcome to the Village Well podcast.
Thank you. That was such a great introduction.
I'm so glad. So first, I'm going to ask you to give a shelf talker for Pam Kowolski is a Monster. For those who don't know, a shelf talker is those little placards we have in the store that just give a brief pitch for the book. So, Sarah, take it away.
So Pam Kowolski is a Monster is about this woman who has hit 40 and her life didn't turn out like she thought. And she had a lot of potential, but her past sort of prevented her, and her personality, she's got a rough personality, prevented her from getting the things she wanted and probably the things if she deserved in a lot of ways. And instead she's working at a Congo distribution center, which is, like a metaphor for Amazon. Anyway, late at night, she's scrolling through her stream and sees this woman who is the most famous psychic in the world, super successful. And this woman is like, get ready for the big reveal. You'll see everything I see 1 month from today. Mm-hmm. And Pam is like, holy shit, that's my nemesis from high school. And she loses her mind, and she's got this thwarted journalist career, and she's like, I'm going to take her down and get my career back, and she's a fraud. So she starts investigating Pam Kowolski, and it's this journey of, is this real? Is the end of the world coming?
Mm-hmm. That's a great pitch. I was really struck by how bitter and angry Janet is as a protagonist. I feel like that's sort of an unusual thing in fiction, to have a character that's this sort of acerbic. And personally for me, it was really satisfying to kind of feel some of my own rage about the state of the world reflected back at me. So I'm wondering, was writing this cathartic for you?
Yeah. I mean, I love writing bitter people. Mm-hmm. I love things I wouldn't say in real life. I don't think I think in real life are really fun to write about and give to a character. So absolutely. And it cracks me up when I read the reviews. Like, some people are like, all in, this was nuts. And some people are like, she's so mean. She's her own problem. I can't read about people who are their own problems. And I'm like, I don't know anyone who isn't their own problem.
Yeah.
Like, there's no one.
Yeah. I feel like it's kind of like a relief to like read that and be like, okay, so some of the worst aspects of myself are reflected in this character. And it's just, yeah, like I said, it's cathartic to just see that on the page and to know that you like are not the only one who's feeling this way, and that the world is unfair, and you're not the only one who's noticed. So I really enjoyed that. There's also this sense in the book of sort of a palpable dread and doom kind of hovering over the entire thing. I had a knot in my stomach while reading it, which I personally enjoy as a reader of horror. And I felt that in reading your other books as well, like this sense of pervasive sort of doom. I find that when I'm writing, it's a really delicate thing to sort of balance this sense of dread, like, because you're trying to balance present action with the implication of future action, I guess. I'm wondering how you think about the nature of dread and in your writing.
I don't know. Like, there's some things I think that do come naturally. I have an innate sense of dread, maybe. Yeah, I don't think about it. Like, I kind of like, I listen to the radio in the morning, or I read the paper, and I have these visceral reactions, and I just put it in there. Yeah. Like, I think the last, I wrote this short story that came out in Lightspeed, and it's called Does Harlan Latner Dream of Electric Sheep? Mm-hmm. And I got the idea because I was out to dinner with a friend who is in more the corporate world. And he said, the hardest thing about, AI is we can't make robots. We can't master walking with robots. So we can't actually make slave labor. We really need managers. We can make managers. And what people are is they have to be the robots. Right. So in a big warehouse, you're going to wear a headset, and you don't get to pick what package you get next on your list. Mm-hmm. You have to follow directions on what package to get next. Right. And, you're in maybe at some point, to avoid lawsuits, people will have to sit inside of Waymos as fail-safes and just sit there. I wouldn't be surprised by these, humans are these disposable pieces of labor. Yeah. And so I thought of this story. And I think with Pam Kowolski, I had, my dad had died, and I had been with him in the room as he died. And you think about what death is. And so I had these ideas of what a psychic might actually see. And so that was always in the back of my mind. After you have someone in your life close to you die and you see the death, I think there's reality becomes a little bit more open for you for a while. Mm-hmm. It was almost like there was a hole behind me the entire time I was writing it.
Oh, wow.
So I was thinking about what was there and what could come through. And what would come through, and it wasn't what you wanted it to be.
Yeah, that's so interesting because, I don't want to spoil it, but the ending of the book, I was just really surprised by it. I wasn't expecting to have the emotional reaction to it that I had. And I've told you this, I think, in private, that you had just one line near the end. I think it was, "How's your day been?" Or how have you been? Yeah. Yeah. And it was it just really got me. And the sense of where the story ended was kind of weirdly hopeful. I'm wondering, how did you find that ending?
I liked Janet, my main character, and I liked her bitterness, and I liked her anger, and I identified with it. And what I also liked about her was that she kept learning throughout, because there's no point if you're going to write a character that cleverly nasty. It's just to one note. So she had to start responding to everything and changing because of the initial action she had taken toward revenge. And so there had to be a change in her. And those are my favorite kinds of characters, these very difficult characters who are also strong. This is a weird comp, but Terms of Endearment.
Oh, sure.
Shirley MacLaine's character. She's kind of awful. She has that line where she says to her daughter, "You're not a special enough person to overcome a bad marriage."
That's so brutal.
It's brutal, but it's also, Oedipal. Yeah. Where it's this is a bad mother who didn't raise her daughter to overcome a bad marriage. Yeah. Because she wouldn't say that kind of thing. That person, she made it possible. So, but then she, in Terms of Endearment, she just keeps growing. Yeah. And so I like that. I like that kind of character.
Yeah. That's good literature. If you're going to have a stagnant character, then what's the point of writing the book, I guess? So I want to move on to talk about some of your other books too, because I feel like they're the protagonists in A Better World and Good Neighbors. They kind of reminded me of Janet a little bit. in that they are women who are kind of boxed in by society or by the structures of family or by their careers. And there's this sort of sense of desperation and just the feeling of being trapped. And I'm wondering, do you feel that like in your day-to-day life? Do you like siphon that into your work, or is it just sort of all fantasy?
No, it's a good question. It's a fair question. Yeah, I do. Yeah. I think less so as I get older, but I think the nature of roles that we play in our lives can be confining.
Yeah.
So, wife, mother, writer tends to come last. Mm-hmm. And as an ambitious person, that was always really hard for me.
Yeah.
Now that my kids are older, it's not like that anymore. So probably I'm just less boxed, which is not to say, I regret nothing. It's just, this is kind of adulthood. And I might be a little spoiled, honestly. I want to have everything that I want.
I mean, I think that's reasonable, as also an ambitious person. I don't want to sacrifice anything. Do you feel like your ambition has grown over the course of your career? Do you feel like you're more satisfied with how things have gone?
I think I had a lot of setbacks, and I just sort of started getting things back over the last few years, which has been really nice. And so my goalposts have gotten more and more ambitious.
That's good.
I was on a phone with a friend last night, and he was like thinking about switching publishers, and he was like, I want to win a Booker Award one day. And I was like, damn, me too.
Yeah.
And that's fun. It's okay to have goals like that.
Definitely. You gotta put yourself in the future. So you have a master's degree in creative writing and in toxicology as well.
Yeah.
You're a very ambitious person, clearly. So I'm wondering what drew you to that sort of science-oriented degree after you've already had, a pretty successful writing career.
Oh, so I was 30 and I had been working on The Keeper and I couldn't get an agent.
Oh, okay, sure.
And I was working in publishing and I hated it. I hated it. But I also wasn't working as an editor or at a house. I was a literary scout. I was then in academic publishing. So I had always loved science. I had wanted to be a doctor, but I didn't think I could do both things. And I probably couldn't have. But the way that I went to Colby College and the way that they did it, they didn't let me be a science major and have a creative writing concentration.
Oh, okay.
Because it was so competitive to get into the creative writing major. I had to drop my biology major and be an English major instead. Mm-hmm. It was really stupid. But so I had always wanted to go into science because I thought I could make money as opposed to it's a lot harder.
Sure.
I could support myself a little better.
Yeah.
So that was why I went back into toxicology. And NYU had this great program where they paid me to go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
I even got
nice.
A Metro card. They would show up every month, It was amazing.
That's real nice.
I mean, NYU is the richest school. They're like, would you like a bag of money? You look like you need it and you're a student here. And you're like, yeah, I'll take it.
That's great.
It was great. So I was writing and I published I got an agent within 6 months of enrolling there.
Oh, no kidding.
It all started at the same time.
That must have been chaotic. That's a lot of things to juggle.
It was. I actually preferred it that way because it was so overwhelming to me. I don't think I wasn't super mature. This was the thing I wanted most in the world. And then when it happened, it was a 2-book deal. And they were write another book in 9 months. And that was the missing. And I think if I hadn't had classes full time, I would have become a wreck. I would have overworked and overthought and been too freaked out. So it was actually the best thing for me.
Oh, that's interesting. So the fact that you were busy kind of made the writing time more Like you more to the point, like you had to
I
spend
had to
it wisely.
do it fast.
Yeah.
I really, really fast. And then I couldn't think about it too much. And that was way better for me.
Yeah. Speaking of those books, The Keeper, Audrey's Door, and The Missing, right? Those were your first three books?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've tried to get my hands on them.
Oh, I should have brought a couple of copies.
I think I have a copy of The Keeper that I was able to scrounge up from somewhere, but are they just not available, or are they out of print, or?
I bought the stock from HarperCollins because I couldn't get my rights back.
Oh.
They were like, "I'm sorry, we're still not going to give you the rights." I'm sorry. And I was like, "How many copies are there?" And then
They just bought
just Albert, and it was like less than $300. They were being so mean. And so
crazy.
I just sold the rights to Open Road like a year or two ago.
Oh, nice.
And they're re-releasing. There's going to be a 20th anniversary of The Keeper, which is
That's
really
incredible.
fun. They're all coming out soon.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, then we'll be able to get our hands on those.
Yeah. But like I have them. Like I could give them
great.
to you. They're like in my garage.
I'd love to read them.
I had my lawyer in CC, and we're all like, we're going back and forth with them. They're like, no, everything took forever. And
That's
finally
so
I was
crazy.
like, how much money do you want? And they were like, oh, yeah, you could just buy it.
That's so bizarre. Why do you think they were being so stingy about
They don't
it?
give rights back, and they make it really hard. And there's like one person in each house that you write to, and they get back to you within like 2 months.
Right.
And so I would write to them, and they would write a letter being like, one book sold this year, so therefore it's still in print. Or
Gotcha.
whatever,
Yeah.
not enough that it made any sense for that, because they weren't going to do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I finally just like it all got settled, the lady was like, congratulations, good luck with it.
Oh man, that's so pernicious, I guess. I wanted to talk about horror in general. So in Good Neighbors, you use the literal collapse of a neighborhood to sort of explore class divides, societal tensions, that sort of thing. And the Caladrius in A Better World, which is this genetically engineered chicken-like creature meant to be used for food, sort of, to my mind, represented kind of a physical manifestation of the, strict control that the people of Plymouth Valley are under. And, this is just sort of a hallmark of horror, is of literalizing abstract ideas. I mean, that's just literature, but do you feel like horror...
I kind of love that expression, though, literalizing abstract ideas.
Yeah, I feel like horror...
taking that.
Please do, by all means. Do you feel like horror is like especially good at doing that sort of process?
Yeah, I think that's the job of horror. I mean, the rest of anything that's not genre, anything that's not science fiction, fantasy, or horror, its job is to be realistic, typically.
Yeah.
So there really can't be that kind of manifesting fears in the same way.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about horror, is just this, you're able to sort of sublimate these fears into something concrete that you can like direct your fear at. And it can be a way to like overcome the fear. People always ask me like, oh, do you must not ever get scared, because I read so much horror, I watch so much horror. But like, honestly, I'm a fraidy cat, and watching and reading horror like helps me sort of tackle it in a safe space. Horror kind of saved my ass. So I'm glad that I found it ultimately, because I was a really scared kid. Do you get scared easily? Are there things that really scare you?
I've always said no to this question. But what's funny is I'm not a very self-aware person. I'm not.
Really?
No.
I wouldn't think that.
I'm very articulate, or not articulate about my thoughts, and I can talk around things really well. But I recently realized, like I said to my husband, I'm not really like a feelings person. And he was like, your whole family, you, your dad, all the Langans, like you don't do feelings. You just talk like you're really funny about someone else or whatever. And I realized, I think I am scared all the time. And I think I just don't even let myself know it.
Interesting.
So it's funny because I'm working this book I'm working on, Trad Wife. my editors were like, could you like say what she's feeling? And I was like, I don't want to. And that's always my answer.
Yeah.
Like, I never want to say what they're feeling. I'm like, the circumstances just tell you, right? But I kind of realized, like, what I was having fun with this character, I was like, why don't I make her like I just realized I am? And it's someone who doesn't like to cry, doesn't even really know how. Like, you'll take a moment, I'll take a moment, I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to cry. No, it didn't come. I'm just not going to cry about anything ever.
Wow.
So, like, have that person in this situation where the reader goes, oh, this is a person who is just like not going to react.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I am, but I could watch anything. It's fine. But then I will think about it forever.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of Tradwife, can you tell us a little bit about it? I'm so excited to read that one. Was it spurred on by this TikTok trend of Tradwives?
Yeah, it was. It was the Ballerina Farm was one of the.
What is that?
It's it's just another TikTok like Tradwife thing. It was a trend. I think she's gotten out of the business, as they do. And I've watched, people have asked, have I like watched a whole bunch of Tradwife videos, and they're kind of the same. Yeah. Like after a certain point, they're not really worth watching. But I do know a lot of people who love them. And I grew up in a pretty conservative place, and I talked to an old high school friend. She was like, yeah, I buy the meat from that place because I saw the TikTok. And so what I wanted to be very clear about in writing this is it's not about punishing a woman for trying to make a buck, because fair.
Yeah, do what you gotta.
Yeah. So it's the story is this reporter has been canceled by the far right. And it's called the Brotherhood of the American Agenda. And so the idea is she's going to revive her career by writing about this, spending a week on this place called Black Swan Farm. And something like, and it's where this Tradwife and her 7 kids are, and she's pregnant with the 8th. And horrific things begin to happen on the farm.
Fun. Oh, that sounds like a blast, honestly.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Is it sort of in the same, because Good Neighbors and A Better World kind of feel like companion pieces almost. Is it in that same vein, or are you sort of going off in a different direction?
I think it's just more horror, I would say.
Oh, like more directly horror?
Yeah. There were people who read A Better World after reading Good Neighbors who were angry. They wrote to me and they were like, how could you, I expected more from you than this visceral ending. Because there's some eyeballs at the end of Better World. And I did research. How do you poke out an eyeball? What does it look like? How does that keep, So that was like shocking for readers who expected it to be just completely not have any gore.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, this is actually scary. Like I wasn't trying to be scary with the other two. I was just trying to be realistic, truthfully, but this is a scary book.
It's like an out and out horror. Oh, that's very exciting. Cool. I'm so excited to read that. Okay. Well, listeners, look out for it. We'll prominently display it once it's on the shelves, of course. So I wanted to ask you, I mentioned Shirley Jackson before we started. When I'm reading your work, I'm often thinking of Shirley Jackson, who is my favorite author personally. I know she was a big influence of yours. You were, again, one of the founding members of the Shirley Jackson Awards, which awards excellence in dark fiction. And this is really just a question for me, but as a fan of both yours and of Shirley Jackson, how do you think about her work and how it affects your work? Is she at front of mind for you?
Oh, that's a really good question. Yeah, nobody's at the front of my mind when I'm working. And I'm sure I'm riffing on a million things that I'm a really oblivious person. But I've read everything she's written and I've loved it. And I would say those stories, she wrote, the one where the housewife goes to the dentist, it's terrific. Yeah. And there's another one where daughter comes home and her mother doesn't recognize her.
Oh, I don't remember
That's
that
the
one,
whole
but
story.
yeah, that's very Jackson-esque.
Yeah. And those kinds of slips
Mm-hmm.
in a conflation of a slip in reality and a slip of the mind are very upsetting to me and very disquieting in the best ways. I think that's what appeals to me most about horror.
Yeah, definitely. That's so real. That's a great encapsulation of like what she does best. There's this great short story by her. I'm forgetting the title, but it's about I think it's a woman who somebody moves into the apartment next door, and they start coming over more and more often, and eventually, through like subtle manipulation, they switch their apartments.
That's amazing.
And the other person's apartment is this terrible, like shabby, like
Yes.
awful place. And the story ends with them listening to the neighbor having a party in their former apartment. Oh, that feeling of just like it's just slipping through your fingers. I love that so much. And that comes up in your work a lot, I think. Just this sense of just like, it's out of my control. It's just slipping away from me.
I was thinking about how action books, like those thriller, adventure, spy, like, tough guy stuff, that would never happen to them. And they would always say the right thing. And they would always be like, what are you doing in my apartment? I noticed immediately. I'm going to beat the hell out of them. And it's like, who do we know in real life who's like that, who's not a psychopath?
Yeah.
Like that you would be like, oh, I can't meet them for drinks because they'll punch me. Like real people are like, I don't know what happened. I was really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They took my pen. And then I didn't know if they really took my pen.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know them that well. So I let them take my pen,
Yes, that's
I think that's
much more realistic.
more common. And
Yeah.
it's like, we don't want to see that about ourselves. So it's it's funny that the
Yeah.
appeal of like people who never do that. I like characters who slowly realize and figure out how to be like, I took my pen back.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. It's more satisfying too if you can, again, take the journey with them and they eventually reach that place of strength or a lack of cowardice or something. I just wanted to bring up Shirley Jackson because I just love her. I love talking about her.
I love her. When I read Dance Macabre, and
Oh, yeah.
then that's Stephen King writes extensively about Shirley Jackson in that book, and so I immediately got Hill House in high school, and I read it, and I was up the whole night.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, and then all through college, I was like afraid to write a book, but I was going to write a haunted house book. And that haunted house, there was going to be a kid in there who had supernatural powers messing up his mom's mind, and the mom didn't know.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it was totally like, I'm going to take Hill House, and
Yeah.
I'm going to also do Hill House. And so I must have loved her.
Yeah.
Still do.
That sounds like a combination of Stephen King and Shirley Jackson kind of put together with the psychic kid. So you've written quite a few short stories, a few novellas, a few novels. I'm just curious, as a fellow writer, when you start a piece, do you know if it's going to be short fiction, novella, something longer?
Yeah, I always know if it's going to be a novel because I'm like, okay, this is a novel. And sort of I just think in a different way about it. And with a short story, I'm like, how am I going to end this? Like, I better end this.
Yeah.
And even then, like sometimes I can't help it. It's like, Pam turned out to be 30,000 words. And then my most recent haven't been less than 10,000 words.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I go into it. How much time do I have to put into this?
Yeah. I've written quite a few short stories, but I find them infinitely harder than longer fiction because I feel like if it doesn't have that like satisfying little, bow at the end, like I feel like I've wasted my time or I've wasted the reader's time. It's probably a silly way to think about it, but it's so much harder for me to like just have just this brief little thing that satisfies me, satisfies the reader. Do you have that same experience, or are short stories easier for you?
I think they're easier.
Yeah.
they're like, you know what it is? Because it's like you punish yourself on the novel. You're like, oh God. Like I got 4 weeks to turn Tradwife around. And I'm like, I've been working on it like a fool, and I'm exhausted. And Friday's the due date.
Oh boy.
Right? And it's still there's work to do. And so whenever I get to the end of that kind of thing, then the Monday rolls around and I'm like, I get to write a short story.
Oh yeah,
this
it's
is
like a little
amazing.
treat.
So it actually feels like cheating.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I just have fun with it. I don't worry.
That's so great. Do short stories come to you like just in a flash, like the whole concept's there for you, or do you just start with an image?
It depends, like and like where you are in your head. Because if I'm just having fun, they kind of do. If I feel pressured, like with the Stephen King anthology, I felt pretty pressured. Yeah. And I reread The Stand, and The Stand was kind of seminal for me. And I reread it, and I thought it's still so accomplished. I have some qualms, and so I just felt funny about the whole thing. How do I come at this? And the thing is, like, I have qualms about my own work in the same way. I go back and read Keeper and I think, did I really need to like talk about fat people? Like, or whatever it was that was like, our culture has moved on and sees things in a different lens. And so it's totally appropriate that there should be some things. And so I was like, God, I have different issues about how people might or might not weaponize an idea of God. And so I thought, how do I still let him know that I love his work? But then how do I also write the story? So that actually took me like 3 times as long as it would have taken for any other short story.
I bet. Because like playing in that world as like a horror fan, it's like a fantasy writer writing in Middle Earth or something, or like trying to drop yourself into this like The Stand is like the classic epic horror novel, like it's like you said, it's such a seminal classic. I would, if I had gotten that job, I probably would have had a panic attack and never finished it because that's so intense. So in A Better World and in Good Neighbors to a lesser degree, and in Pam Kowolski actually, the idea of like societal collapse, the idea of like sort of the end of the world is very present. The societal collapse that sets up a better world feels very possible to me, very plausible. I'm wondering, did writing these stories, writing about sort of the decline of society, did it help you process our own precipitous decline as a country?
No. But yeah, I mean, this decline, it's happened before. This isn't new. I just don't like being in it.
Yeah.
I would rather be in a different era. We'll come out of it, but it's not fair. And I'm just seeing less fairness in the world.
Yeah. I feel like it's poisoning my mind personally. Like 10 times a day, I get this stomach dropping terror, like, oh God, there goes another pillar of American democracy. Or Jimmy Kimmel gets fired and it's like, oh, there's the canary in the coal mine. But yeah, it's rough out there. But I think, books help to a degree.
I think they do. I think they're their own act.
Anyway, this is very far afield what we were talking about. But so I just have a couple questions to sort of wrap us up here. So what excites you in the world of horror literature and literature at large right now?
I'm excited that horror is getting such a bump lately.
It's nice.
It's really fun. Yeah. I was at whose event here? I was at Nat Cassidy's event here. It was friggin' jammed.
Yeah.
And I don't think he knew all those people.
I don't think so.
So it was amazing. People listening might know Dark Delicacies. It closed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sadly. No.
But
I mean, they seem to be happy about it.
It was time for it.
Yeah.
But 15 years ago, if you went to Dark Delicacy, 20 years ago, they had the same thing. It was like just it was where all the horror people went. They went to everything. It was great.
Yeah.
So it's nice seeing that come back. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it is really exciting. I missed that Nat Cassidy event because I was out of town, but his most recent book, When the Wolf Comes Home.
Yeah.
Did you read it?
I did.
It was so good. I was really impressed by it. Really didn't expect it to go where it ended up going. There's a lot of people working in the genre right now who are just like breaking new ground every day. It's a really exciting time to be a fan of horror. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a longer list of reading.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. Yes, my TBR is very intimidating these days, but I'd rather have it that way, you know, to have too much than not enough. Are you working on anything besides Tradwife at the moment?
I'm adapting Pam Kowolski, like making it a feature.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's exciting.
That is fun.
Is
right?
is that just
I'm working with a producer, but it's
Excellent.
not, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And then actually somebody's interested in A Better World as a TV show. So
Make a fantastic TV show.
I think it would too.
Yeah.
So that and then I was writing a book called Parent Trap before I started Tradwife. So I'll go back to that. I think I'm excited to I'm excited to get Tradwife right in these edits and then do the next thing.
Yeah, definitely. Who would you want to play Janet in the movie adaptation?
I like Anne Hathaway.
Ooh, she'd be great.
Do you see Colossal?
Yes, she was great in that. Oh, very similar sort of
So
vibe.
underrated.
Yeah. It's, it's, I'm a big kaiju person. I love giant monsters. So that was a joy to see that done in a very different way.
So good.
Yeah.
And she's just a great, I thought, feminist character.
Yeah, definitely. She's a fantastic actor. Okay, so just to wrap things up, what are 3 books that you would recommend to our listeners?
I'm going to say more than that.
Yes, please do.
So I just finished Rejection.
Oh, yeah.
Tony Tuluthimudi. I'm going to say.
Sure,
it's
that's
that.
close enough, yeah.
And then, so I was only reading books by women because I felt like I'd only been reading books by men for so long. And then I was like, I read this review in the New York Times about this book called Flesh by David Szalay, Salzy or something.
Oh, okay.
And I thought it looked great. And then it just got nominated for like a Booker. So I read that.
Ooh.
And it's really good. And they both are of the same theme. Like Rejection is sort of about the corruption of people who spend too much time on social media.
Oh, okay.
But it's unbelievably cleverly done. And it starts with this guy who can't get a date and what that does to him slowly.
Oh.
And the next, it's about rejection.
Yeah.
And then Flesh is about a guy who just lives a big life. He's Hungarian and then he's in England. I think the author's Hungarian. But he can't really express himself. And it's really fun reading that as a woman because when you ask a guy a question and they're like, I don't know. And it's like really fun to see the writer like being like, they don't know. Like, like that's what that is.
It's true. We never do.
And I like that. And I think so those 2 were really fun. I've been thinking a lot about horror movie, Paul Tremblay's book, a bunch.
I'm obsessed with that book. It's so good.
It's really good. So I've been thinking about those because I've been burrowing in on horror. And those are like, I like them all. And then I just read C.J. Leeds' book that's going to come out.
Oh, Headlights? Is that what it's
Headlights.
called? Yeah.
And that is crazy good fun. And it reminded me a lot of Bret Easton Ellis.
Oh, that
There's
makes sense.
a lot of Bret Easton Ellis in there. So
she's a big
Headlights.
Ellis fan.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many, but I
know.
finished up with Hill House. Everybody should read Hill House.
That's probably my favorite book, honestly. I mean, it's a bit cliche for a horror writer, but like it's just unbeatable. It's so good. I've read it probably 4 or 5 times at this point. Yeah, that's a good one to end on, I think. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. This is a great conversation, and good luck with Tradwife. And everybody, buy Pam Kowolski is a Monster. It's a great, excellent little story.
Your life depends on it. Thank you. This has been really fun. Glad to be here.
If you'd like more information from us, check out the show notes or send us an email at podcast@villagewell.com. You can always order the books mentioned through our website. This episode of the Village Well podcast is brought to you by Village Well Books and Coffee. It was produced and edited by Josh Stretton Carlson, and our theme music is from Noah Vickland. See you next week, and keep reading.